and welcome back to In My Hometown with Jamie Stein, where we get into the business of our neighbors.
So our neighbor today is Steph Degodny. Steph is a college counselor and essay coach extraordinaire.
Ooh.
I know, right? And I am just going to be honest, be totally transparent. We filmed this before, and we had a little technical glitch, and we're filming it again.
We're nothing if not adaptable. Lesson for life.
We've switched sides, we've switched outfits, hair color.
Yeah.
And we're going to just go for it. But
Love it.
You are one of my oldest friends.
Yep.
But I wanted to have you on. I knew not only to practice with you, but I just knew that your story's so great, and I love what you do.
Thank you.
And I love everything about you, but we'll stop there.
Mutual.
When I was talking to you about doing the podcast and highlighting or celebrating people in our hometown, and that hometown is sort of a larger community, and just learning about what people are doing, whether they've pivoted from something else and then
pivoted more than once.
Exactly, which we're going to get into.
Yeah.
And then just getting into their business, whether it's the business, professional or a bit personal. And that's really what this is all about. But you have some great stuff. So
Thanks.
it was a long intro.
I loved it.
Okay.
I'm with you.
So let's go. Let's start from the very beginning when you were born.
Okay.
No. So let's talk a little bit about how you came to be a college counselor and essay coach.
So I've always loved to write.
Yeah.
Friends have always come to me with help editing things, a letter they have to write, an essay they had to write, something like that, paper they wanted edited. A couple chapters ago, I was a teacher. I went to grad school to be a high school English teacher. Ended up.
I love what you just said a couple chapters ago.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
all
yeah.
chapters.
The positive spin on everything, right?
Love it.
And I went to grad school to be a high school English teacher, and then I worked as a middle school French teacher for many years.
So you were a French teacher.
Yep, and ended up being a stay-at-home mom for many years with raising my 3 boys, and all the while helping people with all the same kind of things. My nieces with their college essays,
right.
Articles, people want to post, all things like that, and then I decided that I wanted to do it professionally, and it sort of started as a part-time gig and ended up going off sort of on my own, getting my own clients and expanding into the full college.
The full Monty.
Yeah, full Monty.
Right.
So not just essay editing, but college counseling as well.
Right. And every time I talk to you, I feel like you have gotten another client, and your days are much busier than they have been, and trying to get you on this podcast.
Yeah.
But it's so great because, as we've talked about, you had, like you said, a bunch of these chapters. And we've talked over the years, and it's sort of, a little bit frustrating at times of some of the chapters maybe not working, or some things that have been going. And it all really led to this, which is so great. And so, and how impressed I am that you just kept going. And
Thank you.
yeah. And
I'll tell you, what's interesting about those chapters, and it's sort of similar to, when you're dating and then you finally find the right one, and it's all the people that weren't the right one that sort of taught you what you want.
Right.
I know how it feels to not be in the right career. I know how it feels to not feel authentic in my role of what I'm doing. And so when I started doing this professionally full time, I was like, oh yeah, this is what it's supposed to feel like.
How quickly, I don't want to say how quickly, and how much you've learned and been able to now, I'm calling you, even though I'm not paying you, you just seem to have so much knowledge on the subject, and you've been doing a lot of college visits and everything.
Yeah.
So I want to get into talking a little bit about this business, because I mean, you can't be a parent, and not be thinking about college.
course,
I
of
certainly
course.
think that we're in that mix of the age range, and I would argue that that parents are thinking about it even earlier than they used to, right?
I
Yes.
had
Okay.
2 new client calls yesterday.
That
One,
are how old
Freshmen.
are they? Freshmen. Yeah,
Yeah.
which is very early.
and not just that they were freshmen, but they were calling concerned that they were like behind. And so
Right.
part of my job is to let parents know you're already doing exactly what
Right.
you're supposed to be doing. That was like this call yesterday. By the time she hung up, she was like, "Oh my God, like thank you."
Right. So is that what you wish parents, like, what's the one thing you wish parents knew then? Or
I wish,
yeah.
and look, I'm in this as well. Is like we hear the noise out there, we hear all the other parents, and our friends, and nothing wrong with the people saying it, but it starts to sound like this pressured noise that we're doing something wrong, we're behind, we have to keep up, and really sort of what I try to help these parents do is just quiet the noise. Like, it's okay, you are not behind. Even people that call me and have rising, well, now seniors right now, because now school has started, they're no longer rising, they are seniors. It's August. I'm starting with 2 new clients today.
Right.
They're not behind.
Right.
We have plenty of time to do what we need to do.
Wait, so you would engage with someone now who has a rising senior just for the first time?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because
I
help
have-
with maybe the application process.
The Common App essay. Yeah.
Okay.
I have a client I'm starting with today that,
I love it.
yeah, they're hiring me for the Common App essay, supplementals, the Common App, and pretty much the whole thing. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So it really isn't ever too late, I guess. Or, I mean, at least
I
you
had
feel like, yeah.
I had a parent reach out to me mid-October last
Yeah.
year in sheer panic.
Right. Because they thought they could do it all themselves?
Yep.
Yeah.
Her son thought he could do it all, and it quickly became obvious around like October. I'm not exaggerating, like October 14th,
Wow.
that he couldn't,
Right.
and we got it done.
Right. It's such a crazy.
It's not ideal.
No. Okay.
But we
Okay.
got it done.
All right. Because I was going to say.
Yeah,
it wouldn't
no,
be
it's not ideal,
Yeah.
but it's never too late.
Right. It's so. It's such a stressful time. The whole bit of it. Even when you either don't want it to be stressful. I mean, you do everything you can to sort of make it not be. But it's there because it's sort of like this. It's this. I don't want to say elephant in the room, but it's something that's there all the time, right? It's this
Yeah.
weight that everyone's
Yeah.
thinking about. How do you help the students that you're working with go through this time and make them feel at ease and comfortable?
So it's actually 2 parts. I have to helping the parents feel more relaxed about it
Yeah.
will then help the students feel more relaxed about it because they're not getting the pressure at home that
Yeah.
the parents were. But with the kids, I like to meet with them sort of end of junior year, and especially the ones that are feeling extra anxiety about it. And I break it down into like the 3 buckets. We have the Common App essay, we have the Common App, the applying, the actual applications for each college, and maybe we have the extra supplemental essays that each college may or may not have. This is how we're going to handle this. This is how we're going to handle this. This is how we're going to handle that. And put it into these manageable buckets. You can visibly see them start to relax. Okay, that feels manageable, as opposed to this like huge, overwhelming, unknown, big monster that they can't even like wrap their head around.
Right.
The other thing, as I sort of alluded to, is talking to the parents and assuring them that if they're hiring me, they no longer have to be the one nagging. They can just be the cheerleader. And I remind them that this is an incredibly stressful time for the whole family because their child, I'm like scared I'm going to make you cry right now, but their child is leaving the nest.
Yeah.
Right? And
You might.
and
Yeah.
and that is an overwhelming and emotional
Right.
time. So the gift I say to them that I give them by working for them is relieving them of the need to be the disciplinarian and the nagging person, and just being able to love them and support them. And like I said, be their cheerleader for this last year of high school.
Yeah.
I had a parent reach out to me the other day that said, you had me in her email. She said, you had me at no more nagging.
Right.
Because
Right.
that's on my
That's
maybe
great
it's on my
ad.
website,
I
or it
love
was
that.
on like a post I did
Yeah.
or something. But
Yeah.
that really is what it is.
Yeah,
you know?
and I'm sure that a lot of parents get into engage with a counselor or an essay coach for a lot of different reasons, right? And I'm sure some of them it is that reason
Yeah.
that they don't want to be it. Some
Yeah.
it's for me much it was a lot about I would not want to be the reason that we didn't fill something out right.
Yeah. Oh,
Always
it's so much
concerned
pressure.
about that and the pressure that was. I to be honest, I can't even find our ACT password right now, but that's another story.
Here's a little secret though, just to to respond to what you said. You can. This is just a little, PSA for all parents. If you did make a mistake, all you have to do is call the admissions office
Right.
and say, "Oh my God, we submitted, and I meant to say this." No problem. Things are fixable. I just want parents to know that.
Right.
Whether
That's,
it's,
yeah, I guess
yeah.
I never even thought of that,
Yeah,
but that is
yeah,
good.
yeah.
Yeah, you're so calm. I can already tell.
Meet Aveline, clean, delicious wine made with organic grapes and nothing you don't want. No added sugar, no unnecessary ingredients, just beautifully crafted wine for any occasion. Pour a glass and feel good about it.
So let's get into another area about this, which is sort of the landscape of the universities, the colleges. What are some of the things that you're seeing this year? I feel like every year it just all of a sudden it's like, oh, everything's new this year.
Yeah, right. Well, there's so many moving parts this year. First, Ohio State announced that they are no longer test optional. Michigan announced they're offering early decision, the binding application, which they've never had before. So what will that mean in terms of how will that affect all the other schools? We don't know. There was an article that came out that now lots of different places are picking up and calling it fact. So we'll see if it turns out to be fact. But this idea that there's going to be so many fewer international students this year because of what's going on, like with new government policies and stuff. So that perhaps will make it easier for students here to get in. They talked about lower birth rate this year.
Yeah,
so
that's what I was just gonna say.
Will that affect? So there's all these sort of hypotheticals out there, or sort of guesses of how this year will go. But the truth is, we never know.
Right.
And all we can do is make our best guesses based on how things have gone in previous years.
Yeah, it is. It's really a crazy process, and you always hear these stories, these some of these nightmare stories and some amazing stories, and those are definitely some of the factors at play. What about the southern schools and sort of the heat that's on some of those, and what's your take?
So I've never had more kids applying to South Carolina.
Yeah.
Last year, I felt like I had a student from St. Louis who I was convincing the parents that, there was more than just Wisconsin.
Yes.
Like as a
Is
lot
there
of the kids.
really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I really pushed this idea of South Carolina. And I just talked to the mom this morning, and he is so happy there. I have so many students applying there. Bama, Ole Miss, obviously Texas.
Yes.
Georgia.
Right.
Crazy. North Carolina, nothing new there, but
and why?
Elon. I think that the age of TikTok and all the Bama Rush and all of that, and during COVID when everyone was sort of like stuck at home, glued to their phones, and especially up here, like in the Midwest, where we were all locked down, and in the South, not so much. And as we were being like quarantined and separated from our friends, there was a lot of like down south still all hanging out and partying, and I think that was like really alluring. And I just think like the more, it's sort of like with any trend, the more people sort of start to say yes to something, the more people say yes to something.
Yeah.
And if you start to see people that look like you, or from where you're from, or your same ethnicity, or your same religion, or whatever it is that sort of makes it feel familiar, and you see like, oh, if they're doing it, then that place might be okay for me, kind of thing. And I think that's a lot of what's happening, particularly with a school like South Carolina,
Right.
Georgia.
Right. And what do you say to families when they sort of start with you and they just have those one or two schools that they want? I mean, how do you get them to open up the aperture?
I try to set the scenario of especially with the kids, no one's making you go anywhere, but let's set your April self up for success. Okay. It's June or July or, September, whatever it is. You don't know exactly what April you is going to want. You think you know, and you might be right, but you also might not be right. So let's give a little bit of variety. You think you only want a big rah-rah school. Let's apply to a smaller school. Maybe not a teeny school, but a smaller school just in case. You say, I want to get as far away from Chicago as possible. I want to get out of here. And then come March, April, it starts to sink in, like, maybe I don't really want to go so far from home. Maybe getting on a plane isn't necessarily what I want. If you only applied to California schools, you've sort of screwed yourself, So, so I always suggest, applying to a couple schools that you'd be happy to go to within driving distance, or, that kind of thing.
Yes, no, that's really good.
Just really try to round it out, not just a well-balanced list, about like where you can get in and where is a reach, but a well-balanced list as far as size, as far as location, as far as weather, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think that's really smart. And I love that that's your approach to it. What are some of the schools that are sort of what you see as secret good? Like that people haven't really heard of, or they haven't taken?
So it really sort of depends on the kind of kid, right? So a school like I just brought up Elon, for example. What an incredible school.
Yeah.
So special, so unique.
Where is Elon?
In North Carolina.
Okay.
But it's not for every kind of kid.
Right.
So as I get to know my kids, I sort of get to know what may or may not be a good suggestion for them. Right. So there's schools like that depending on the kid, that I would, say like, have you taken a look at something like that?
And they probably should.
In My Hometown is brought to you by the place that brings us all together, Hometown Coffee and Juice. If you're jonesing for a delicious avocado toast, berry bowl, make your own salad, something sweet, Hometown has you covered. Hometown makes you feel welcome. Planning a milestone birthday, a corporate or fundraising event, or just celebrating something special? I know just the place. Uptown at Hometown Coffee and Juice. This cozy lounge-style private event space is the perfect spot for you. It's made for memorable moments. Book your next gathering today.
What about the school visits? Do you suggest that, there's so many different ways to do it, but some of my friends over the years have gone to visit every single school that their kids applied to. We took, a different tack of just going to the ones maybe that your kid gets into.
Yeah.
What is the best practice, or it's again?
As a mom, I only went to schools that my kids got into. I have a lot of clients who start going on visits junior year.
Yes.
There's no
right or
one.
wrong.
It's like what's right for your family.
Yeah.
It's financially what's right for your family. Time-wise, some kids are super involved with sports and can't get to, it's just there is no one. If I leave nothing else today, with your viewers, it's that there is not one right way to do things.
I guess too, the idea would be the more that you can expose your kids to and the more that they could see, the more that they would be open and willing for new things
Seeing what's out there,
just
aside from their just dream school.
Yes, exactly,
Their
which I
dream
think would
school.
be great.
Yeah.
So let's sort of turn to the other aspect of what you do, which is the essay writing or essay coaching. I
Yeah.
should say writing, the essay
Yeah.
coaching.
Yeah.
What do you recommend in terms of themes, and what do you say to a student or child who says to you, I don't have anything that's happened that's been super, I don't know, amazing.
Yeah. So I think like one of the biggest misconceptions that students come to me with is that something big had to have happened in order for them to write a Common App essay. And really the idea is it's not what happened, but why it matters. So the why it matters part, what does it say about you? What have you learned? What characteristics does it show? What growth does it demonstrate? That can happen with the tiniest of stories. Another misconception that people come to me with is, oh, I had this like amazingly powerful thing that happened to me at camp, but I was told you can't write about camp. And then I say
Who
to
said
them,
that?
and then
Who
I say
wrote
to
the
them,
book of-
well, my son goes to Wisconsin and
Right.
he wrote about camp, and I have a client that got into Michigan and Wisconsin last year and he wrote about camp. I had a client who got into Texas and got like full ride to Georgia and he wrote about something that happened at camp. So again, it's just to demonstrate it's not what happened, it's why it matters. If the backdrop is at camp, that's fine.
Right.
As long as you're writing about something powerful that means something, that you're being vulnerable, that you're showing growth, that kind of thing.
Yes.
That's what matters in this essay.
Okay. And how do you help a student sort of stay true to their voice as they're writing it? Or do you feel like that's not really a problem?
No, I think that giving them the confidence to trust their voice, I think, is part of my job.
Right.
We brainstorm together. We come up with a theme together. I sort of give them an outline, sort of just like a pathway, not so much a formal outline, but just sort of a pathway of order of things. And I tell them, don't worry about how good this rough draft is. Don't worry about how long it is. Take that 650 word limit, throw it out. Basically, you're coming to me with a block of ice, okay? And then together, we're going to chip away at that block of ice until we have the sculpture underneath, right?
Yeah.
But if you don't come to me with this block of ice and you come to me with only like a little bit, it's harder to put the stuff on, right?
Yes.
So feel free to just say it all without editing yourself.
I love that. I
Yeah.
love that. Are there any topics that are overdone that you feel like you sort of say to veer away from?
Well, it's, again, it's like how you write about them. Yes, like, writing about like, struggling on your basketball team and then realizing that you had it with you all along. Okay, so maybe that's overdone a little bit, but it is still possible if you had, a significant period of growth or some sort of epiphany that happened while you were on the basketball team. There is a way to write about that in a unique way.
Right.
It doesn't have to be this straightforward thing, but I don't ever want kids to feel like something significant happened to them and they're not allowed to write about it.
Right.
This essay, if it's done right, is a vehicle for like a lot of empowerment for these kids. I have a student a couple years back who, wrote about like a significant bullying experience that they went through and how they came out the other side. And that was a really therapeutic essay for them to write. I'm not going to micromanage what they can and cannot write. This was
Right.
more than just about getting into college. This was a cathartic experience for them to get this out and to let it empower them. And you could tell how empowering it was just by their face.
Yeah, that's so amazing.
It was incredible.
Yeah, incredible. God, I would think that.
So the getting into college part,
Right.
awesome. But what
Yeah.
I'm saying, it was just even more than that.
Yeah. Yeah. How rewarding for you to
Yeah.
have this.
Yeah.
What is the best part of what you're doing?
That.
Yeah.
My connection with my kids, getting the text from the mom, the next morning, blah, 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 loves working with you, and me being like, oh my God, me too. And, it's like it's like the perfect marriage of being a teacher you know, being a parent, being a friend. It's like all of those, being a mentor. It's like all of that, and being a therapist.
Right.
You know, all in one. I had a student that I was with the other day. We were brainstorming for her Common App essay, and she's like, "Wow, this is like I'm telling you more than I tell my therapist." And I joked with her, like, "Girl, this is 70% of my job." You know,
Right.
because it is. It's developing that relationship where they trust me enough to get deep, and that's not easy, and it's the most rewarding part of the job.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
What is it, something that you say to these kids as they're at this point? Like, so we're going to air this in the fall time, right? So of what they should be thinking right now.
Well, I certainly try to get them to trust the process. There's more than one dream. There's more than one path to get there. A lot of students are writing, you know, in supplemental essays right now, and they're asking what your first choice major is, and like what your second choice major is, and second choice major oftentimes being sort of undecided. And I always encourage them to write about, there's more than one path to get to where I want to go.
Yeah.
And so if I'm not accepted as this major, I can pivot and study this to still achieve my goal. And sort of the same thing goes for the schools that they're applying to or getting accepted at.
Yeah.
You know?
I've learned a lot, as I always do when we talk.
Oh,
I feel
good.
like every time, and I have a bunch more questions, but I'm going to save them. We're going to definitely do another part to this.
Great.
But I could just tell again from how you talk about it, that there's just, it is so rewarding, and I can tell that it is such a sweet spot for you to be in, and you're doing so well. And I think that as parents, we should take that as example of sort of how we should be helping our kids to see this through.
Yeah.
I'm going to pivot to our rapid fire right now
fun.
because, so this is that part where I ask you a bunch of questions. And the first is, what's the favorite part of the job, which we covered, but how about the least favorite part of the job?
The least favorite part is when the student is struggling to think of what they want to write about, and I'm struggling to help them figure it out.
Okay. Yeah.
But it ends up working out. There's just that moment of like, oh my gosh, I hope we can think of something, and we always do.
You're more like a dentist of pulling teeth at that point than a therapist.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, you said it
Favorite show to unwind with? I'm sure
my gosh.
after a long day of all these calls.
I'm embarrassed to say this, but Love Island.
No, don't. I think everyone loves that show.
It's the best turn off your brain show.
I just heard this morning on the radio that Love Island has surpassed Bachelor in Paradise in ratings. So
yeah, that's not surprising.
Not surprising. Okay. Last show you binged?
The Hunting Wives.
Oh my God. Okay. Coffee or tea?
Always coffee.
What kind of coffee?
Just regular coffee brewed at home with skim milk and a scoop of sugar in the raw.
Wow. All right. Advice for your younger Steph?
Don't be afraid to reinvent yourself.
Yeah.
Over and over.
And call them chapters.
Love
it. Your favorite quote?
Life is 90% what happens and 10% how you react.
Yeah.
I have that up on our wall in the kitchen.
It's so true. And your favorite motto or sort of expression?
Be here now. Don't get freaked out about what's to come, and just be here now. Bring it back. Be here now.
Yep. What matters now maybe that didn't before?
Hanging with the people that I want to be with. You know, it's sort of like quality over quantity.
Yeah. Yeah. Spongeworthy or Spare Square. I don't even know all the. Okay,
My friends
that's an
always
old
be Spongeworthy.
reference. They have to be
Seinfeld.
right,
Yes.
but I think
Yes,
that
that's
idea
exactly right.
that there's so many Saturday nights and but now
Yep.
it's like they're
Yep.
a little bit more.
Yep.
Okay, I love that. What's your you are a big foodie, which I know with your
Yes.
husband Steve. What's your favorite meal to make?
Pasta, that like a pesto pasta with asparagus and fried egg and fresh mozzarella and sun-dried tomatoes that that my kids love. That with some
It's your homie.
toasty bread with
Yeah.
spread with burrata.
Oh, it sounds very good. Yeah. Okay, your favorite book?
Recent favorite book, A Demon Copperhead by Barbara Kingsolver.
Okay, I have not read that. And your favorite podcast?
In My Hometown with Jamie Stein. Am I allowed to say that one?
You of course
Yeah,
are.
oh my
That'd
gosh,
be.
of course, yes.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
So enjoyed having you.
Me too.
And on In My Hometown. And we will talk again soon.
I can't wait.
Thank you for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed today's conversation. Don't forget to subscribe and share this episode with a friend. New episodes drop every week. Hope to see you soon in my hometown.